This is what we're going to spend on the next 60 minutes. So the main highlight obviously is a live demo, which is where we'll try and spend most of the time. We'll also talk about where AI is heading right now, the process, which includes the models, the agents, the org memory, which is quite interesting. And of course, the Q&A sessions. 2019, but it was a different time, wasn't it? It was obviously pre-COVID, a lot of in-person meetings, we had, as compared to what we have right now. But obviously, it was a different time for software as well, the software industry as well, because in 2019, it used to take months to get to a working prototype, isn't it? Tech team, a budget, and a roadmap meeting about a roadmap meeting. It was definitely a different world. A couple of years back, 2024, 2025, we're talking about weeks and using a developer who knows a bit of AI. But today, it's probably an evening with a laptop. Possibly a ruined weekend if you get ambitious, right? The cost of a first version is collapsed, which brings me to my next slide, which is the fact that you can prototype yourself. But if you didn't know, you can prototype yourself, and that's really not a hype. And there are some tools out there, many tools out there, and we have mentioned some of them over here: Lovable, V0, Replicate Raw, etc., which you can use to prototype yourself.
So, what we can see in the tools which Sanjay provided, it's absolutely true. You can actually make some amazing prototypes and validate your product idea in the market as well. It's more than a prototype for sure, right? You can actually put the idea out there in the market and collect information and, how the customers would potentially feel like, is that really solving a problem statement or not? That's something that can definitely be done. But whether that's a product in itself or whether that's a business in itself, that's a question mark that we need to really ask, because where we stand right now is a lot of these half-exposed products are flooding the market, and user trust, the trust of the user, is probably the most scarcest thing that is available in the market. So if we have to do a business out of it, from a prototype to the real product game, we need the product to be distinguished, right? We are in a regime which what Sanjay told, over a weekend, we can actually build the prototype and potentially, test the waters. The question really that we need to ask ourselves is, what is the viability? What's the moat that you're going to build? Because a school grad or a end customer or even a competitor can actually get the same thing done over the weekend, isn't it? Point is, Sanjay, is if we have to make the get the trust of the customer, whatever that we build has to be our production grade quality. It has to be scalable, has to be secure, because we don't want any of us get beaten back by the compliance issues. And we have seen this multiple times, isn't it? World has moved on, as Sanjay told. Earlier it used to be an assistant where we kind of interact. It moved into an agent, and now it became an agentic AI development where we are deploying agents and they self-sufficiently execute the task that you give them on your hand. The objective today is to kind of quickly introduce you to the frontier models. So you might have already heard about Claudes and Codexes. The framework that we are actually talking about here is actually applicable to any of the agents or frontier models that is going to use. There are a few new ones coming up like Kimi. I'm going to demo this on Claude because that's something which I'm comfortable with. But the workflow that we show is actually exactly replicatable in any of the models that is going to come up. We're going to deep dive into the agent workflows while we show the demo, Sanjay, because that's probably a better way of utilizing the time. And org memory is probably something which is going to be really, really interesting. If AI has to make decisions for us, or if you have better decisions for us, we know a human in the loop is required, but if you need to make better decisions, then the knowledge base has to be assimilated, structured in the right way for AI to understand and consume it in a better way. I want to jump onto the Claude session and walk you through that. The reality is whatever that you see here is something that is directly replicatable on a Claude desktop or a Codex desktop, whatever that you're going to do, right? It's not going to dramatically change. So what you see here on the top right, I've run some pre-scripts so that, in the interest of time, we don't wait for it to execute. So I'm going to quickly walk you through that. So allow me to press in the button on the bottom corner. You can see restart from stage. I'll explain the stage 2 part. Okay, don't worry about it. So you're actually going and seeing the live data feeds, which is the folder on which I'm executing. That's where all the coding and the information is already available. We have set up for few of the packages to ensure that the token usage is actually optimized. So that's the reason why you're saying that there's a 91% reduction from reuse. So there's a lot of memory that is already created. It actually goes and lists down all the activities that we have done earlier, right? So kind of keeps that in the memory. The biggest point that you'll have to understand is that the code now becomes a conversable plain English information, Sanjay. So you can literally ask questions to the code base, right? Let's say I'm asking it provide a background tech stack on the documentations of the project. I've already run this, but the moment it runs it comes back and gives me something like this, right? Just gives me an HTML, all the information in one go. So anyone who is joining the new project, whether it's a tech person or a non-tech person, kind of gets a good understanding of what is in there, right? Talks about the technology stack, talks about the workflow that is involved, what is happening, and all the information that we have in hand. So what we are doing in this project is we are scraping data from few different websites within India who actually supplies groceries to the home as well as medical products to home. The current ecosystem has something called Zepto, which is equivalent to Deliveroo, Uber Eats in the UK. So what you see on the screen, Sanjay, is the runs that has happened. So there are scheduled runs which kind of takes the data and then put it into a database, right? I mean, there can be failed runs, there can be completed runs, automated runs, manual runs, and it can be runs for Zepto, it can be runs for data management. Again, I'm not going to go into much of the detail. This screen is plain blank symbol. There's a list, and on the top of it, there is information about how many is run completed thing. Now, this is not really clickable. You can't really see anything about it. My intention was in the demo, I kind of go and ask AI to kind of say, can we make this clickable in such a way that it automatically filters the data? So that's the intent. And I'll quickly go back to, Claude. You talked about a very interesting point, the auto mode, right? So basically there are multiple modes. On a shift tab, you can understand that there is a manual, which is fairly straightforward, an accept edit. So anything edited has to be accepted. A plan mode, which is where the real planning happens. I'll walk you through that. And then the auto mode, right? Auto mode means, it doesn't ask you anything. You can actually have a coffee or, take a break. It'll still run on the background. Now, we started with the idea that what is my requirement, right? My requirement is on the runs page header, I want the numbers to be clickable, filtered on the respective data, and the same applicable for the by vendor screen. Selected filter should be highlighted, and clear button should be added to clear all the filters of the code. This is a plain text top level requirement that we have, and we have put it into one of the pipelines that we have fine-tuned for execution, right? I'll walk you through the pipeline. That's what you see as SDLC, pipeline. The stage 0 is to check whether everything is ready. Is AI ready? Is all my components ready? Everything ready? And that's something that we look. You can also see a few names which are things like GStack, Superpowers. These are open source repositories that we have consumed and take it forward. The next stage 0, is something to classify, because it is important to know that some might be a feature, some might be a bug fix. So the execution has that opportunity to kind of say, is this really a bug fix or not? And bear in mind, this is a feature, right? So I've selected the features already. You can see that I've selected a feature. In the interest of time, I've selected TDD and unit test coverage as nil. But bear in mind, in our production ecosystem, when we develop real projects, we actually say yes to both. So essentially, that means all the test cases gets executed automatically, all the test cases gets created automatically. And that's the point, right? We want humans to be involved when decisions need to be taken, when edge cases needs to be evaluated, and that's thinking power is what we need to supply. So next stage is obviously planning, right, Sanjay? I'll quickly jump back to the slide, because that's exactly what we are trying to show here. I don't think over the last 20-25 years the process of software development has changed dramatically, right? I mean, you have a defined design, build, verify, and ship. What have changed dramatically is there are certain things that can be automated and there are certain things that can't be. The yellow walk ones is something that you need to pay attention to, because we strongly believe humans needs to be involved to make those decisions in the right way so that AI can execute. And bear in mind, some of the decisions gets recorded automatically so that in the subsequent run, they do understand and take it forward. And that's the primary purpose. We don't put direct AI code to production. There would be a senior developer reviewing it before the PR is merged and deployed to the market. But there are rest of the agents is something that we can actually go ahead and automate. You see plethora of agents here, more than 10, right? I mean, the architecture, the database, the integration, the coding agent, the bug fixing agent, unit testing, and much more. And bear in mind, it automatically generates the docs as well, so that the memory is kept on updated.
On that note, before we switch, one of the questions that we have had is, how do you know when AI is genuinely helping your business versus just making your team feel more productive?
I think it really depends upon what you want to ship, right? I mean, this is more of a business question rather than a technical productivity question. I would rather believe that if you want to be on the market prior to your competitors and still make a mark, the objective is to, make the team productive and, improve the outcomes quickly. That alone is not the case, right? I mean, I think my primary point to this, as always, that we talk about, right, Sanjay, is not about the speed alone. It's about making sure the humans think thoroughly about the edge cases so that we don't end up having surprises after we go to production. Because we get more thinking power right now, we get more thinking time right now to kind of do it in the right way. And that's the mantra that we need to, ensure that the team adheres. I'll quickly jump back onto the screen. So the stage one was to kind of, plan. Now, bear in mind, it just doesn't plan, right? I mean, it is a place where in which more than different agents kind of communicate each other and verify if it is doing okay. So the moment the plan is done, it kind of divides and parallelly run 3 agents. One is the engineering review. This is more from an architecture, what kind of scenarios that we have set for that particular project. A design review, since this involves a UI change, it actually evaluates from a design part. And a CEO review, which is more from a business angle and a compliance angle, if whatever that we're doing is breaking anything on the go. So that's the reason why I said, Sanjay, the org memory and ensuring that all the information is available for AI is probably the most crucial element on the game. Because unless and until that happens, the CEO reviewer is probably not going to catch what you really want to catch, right? Let me move on. So on the stage 2, it kind of on the CEO review, it came out with a couple of questions, a very good, interesting questions. It asked me that the total title shows all the run count. Should that be clickable too? Because it's already showing that. And I said, yes, show all reset. And when a clear is pressed, which filter should it wipe? The search box already or the header filters? I said the header filters alone, because if you remember back to the screen, there is a search here. So the question was on the clear, should that be removed or not? This is exactly what I'm trying to say, right? I mean, all the edge cases in terms of what potentially can go wrong or good, this is a conversation that we're probably gonna have. And that's probably ensuring that our quality of the product or what we're gonna do is gonna dramatically, improve. So it's not just about the speed, it is also about, getting the right things done. So I answered that and it changed the plan and it said, CEO is approved, and it created a plan for me. As you can see, it is divided into various different tasks and each task gets executed, in its iteration. And on the last task, it actually said production mode smoke test. I wanted to replace that and I said that, hey, on task 8, before the smoke test, make it available in my local system so that I can show you the output, right? This is my local server, forget about the port numbers or whatnot, but I'm going to deploy this or requested AI to ensure that it gets deployed onto the system. Now it updated me the plan again. This is where the stage 2 is, where the writing, parts really happen. So now the execution is actually hopefully started. It started, it says everything is okay. It actually went ahead and did a design review, which was not done earlier. So that's quite interesting because I thought design review was completed, but it didn't. So it is actually running again. I'm going to press Control B and mark it as mark it as a go. Control B just means it is running on the background, Sanjay.
Okay.
So you can see that the few points that I wanted to make sure that we understand. One is the one which is highlighted here. It is the repo branch that we work on. Typically in IT, software industry, we kind of work in different branches so that more than one people can run in parallel, or more than one agent can run in parallel, right? So the idea is that we will essentially have 3 or 4 agents running in parallel. So each features will be created in separate repos. What you see, Opus 4.8 is the model that we use. We can switch models in our process. When the coding really starts, it kind of switches to a cheaper model. So essentially, the token utilization are getting done in the right way. So now it says your design is approved, all the reviews are approved, and then it says go ahead and build. And I say, hey, go ahead and build, right? And since it is on auto mode, it goes and executes it. Bear in mind, if there still needs to be a decisions on the human, it actually stops and asks for that question, Sanjay. And that's quite important, right? Because we don't want AI to run its course and burn a lot of tokens and come back with something that we don't want, as well. So that's one of the reasons why all these gates are kept in the right way. Right. From a Claude angle, I typically recommend a better model like Opus to kind of do the planning phase. But when it comes to the coding, I think Sonnet is probably really good enough. A Sonnet Medium does coding really, really well, whatever the tech stack is all about. So agents, we can actually set it up in such a way that certain agents, coding agent, moves into a cheaper model and whatnot. On token part, we briefly touched based on this, to be honest. So it really depends upon how your context is set and how your project setup is done. If you do it in the right way, there are some questions which can be answered within the local memory, and it does not call the Claude or any of these models as an API, and essentially zero token usage happens at that point in time. So these are really scenarios that we need to fine tune and ensure it's set up in the right way so that we use them effectively.
So the question that I have is, do you human verify on code level? That's a question that we have.
Yes, we do. Because end of the day, if something happens in production, if there is a security breach, if there is a loss of business, if there is an impact to real users, who will be responsible for it? Don't think Claude is going to take that, right? It's going to be us. So as of now, the practice is, so one of the reasons why we say that, we have a planning phase where we actually say bug fixes and feature fixes is actually that as well. Because if we classify certain bug fixes as a very low key, then we can push them to production without, someone evaluating it. But typical features, we would definitely recommend a code review done, evaluations being done. I mean, a human can use AI to kind of ask the right questions, evaluate them, and take it forward. And bear in mind, I want to quickly show you on that note a very important piece of the puzzle. If let's say, as a human, we identified something and say that, this is something that we wanted to change, it actually gets recorded as a ADR record, so architecture decision record, and it gets embedded into the memory so that next time it actually takes it forward in the right way. In my previous run, you could see here is stage 2.7 is actually no architecture change because we're changing something simple, so there's no architecture decision. But think a complex one potentially will have an architecture decision and we'll adopt proof and it gets recorded.
On the same lines, I think there was a question regarding the tech debt as well as the architectural consistency. But I'm guessing it's in terms of the architectural consistency, code quality. Basically, the checks that we do will ensure that the human checks that we do, the human in the loop, will ensure that
it's not just about the human checks on this. So I think the review part is something that AI is really good at, right? Because if you look at our list of agents that we have, there is a coding agent, there is a code review agent as well, isn't it? So we have, with all the best practices that we know and we have collated over the years and best practices from the industry, we have created this agent which is already having this information on the table, right? So the intention is for humans, our thinking power should be to find something new rather than finding the same thing again and again. The best use of our time, isn't it?
Given scale and speed of code development, how practical / how much time will end up in human review?
I mean, with the limited, equations that we have on hand, I think I'll take this example of a couple of projects that we run, Sanjay. I've definitely seen if the requirements are 100% clear, we get round about 70% or more productivity improvement in terms of. The reason why is we don't get into surprises. The mentality of the team is to kind of evaluate all the edge cases upfront. So what has happened right now is in a sprint, which used to happen, let's say a 10-day sprint, we typically start seeing second day people started coding in the good old days. Now I don't do that, right? I see that day 1, day 2, or probably even day 3 end up in planning phase where they iron out all the edge cases, iterate through them. And the moment all the edge cases are done, bang, the execution starts. And if you're really well and have a good system, you can actually run more than one agent in parallel as well. So good news is we are on task 5, Sanjay. Hopefully, it finishes. For what it looks like, it seems going in the right direction. Probably in about 10 minutes, we should have something to test, I hope.
How do you decide whether a workflow should use a single agent architecture versus multiple collaborating agents?
I would always say, if it's a prototype, a single agent is good enough, and that's what you get in Lovable or Replets or whatever. But if you're looking for production grade, I would definitely recommend a multi-agent. Because at the end of the day, that's exactly the power of it, isn't it? I mean, agents asking each other about potentially improving and recording the improvement so that we kind of able to utilize it next time without relearning it again and again.
Who owns the organizational memory? The engineering team, the product managers, or business stakeholders?
All isn't it? I think Sanjay, what's really happened, or at least my thought process is going this way, is that the distinction between the product team, the engineering team, the business team, the line is actually fading away, and it has to be that the entire team has to coexist together.
Have you ever completely rejected an AI-generated solution because it was technically correct but operationally risky? Interesting question.
I think there has been. We have definitely seen few, security lapses along the way. It is not about AI is bad. It is about how good our agents are, right? So even though especially with security, this is something which keeps on changing over the days, and there's been multiple new scenarios that pops up every time. So it is important to know that when you code with AI, don't just assume that AI is covering all the security for you. It is our responsibility to evaluate. So all these cross certifications and your security testing is absolutely required. Bear in mind, I just wanted to quickly touch base to say that we are on task 6 right now on the screen, and every time a task gets done, it actually goes and verifies whether the task is properly done or not. So there is a internal verification done, and that's the reason why you start seeing 26 out of 26 green. Or the various different values that comes up in that.
Can AI distinguish between historical decisions and current policy, or does it treat both equally?
No, they can be ranked. So that's the whole org memory equation. You're right, absolutely, that if the information becomes stale, there needs to be equations on the table to ensure that AI is made aware that it is stale, right? So that loop needs to happen. It is all about ensuring that the right decisions, when it is made, it's being made aware, and stale informations are kept Obviously, historical informations are required, because if someone comes back and wants to understand about how this entire ecosystem evolved over the years, there needs to be history. But the point is, AI should be made aware of what is stale, so that current decisions has to be on the latest policy documents or latest decisions that we have made. I think we are on potentially the last few bits, to be really honest. We still have 16 minutes to go.
Impact of skills on you STLC. I'm guessing it means on your STLC.
Impact of skills. Skills are, so agents work on top of skills, and skills are something which we fine tune. We did not start with Agentic AI on day one, Sanjay. We did use the planning mode in the right way, but in the last couple of months, we have moved 100% into Agentic AI. And some of the learnings that I have and what we discussed here is on that background.
I think the next stage is started, code review, or
it has started deploying. So what I've done, so you remember on task 8, I made a change that, whilst they do the background checks, I asked them to deploy, right? So in this session, we burned 88.3K tokens.
Or is it different for different models, where can you say 88K tokens means X dollars or X pounds? Is there something that's some sort of correlation there?
Different organizations does it differently, Sanjay, and that's something that we need to keep a tab on. So what Claude does is Claude has various different plan levels. The entry level plan, what they do is that they have a limit of tokens that you can use per day, and at the moment that hits, it says stop, right? Unlike Cursor, which kind of charges you, wherever and whatever that we want it, at least Claude kind of stops there and takes it forward. You can see the security review has approved. You can see SQL fully parameterized, which is typically the SQL injection area. So that's something that is evaluated. So the basics are getting evaluated, and seems that it says that the new build is up and running. It actually says the rest of the stages are completed. So let's go and check whether it's okay. The finger cross time, right? All right. So I'm back on the screen. I'm gonna refresh to see all is okay. You can see that on the border there is a selection. That essentially means you're actually seeing the entire data. If I put completed, it automatically filtered, and I can only see the completed.
Right.
I mark failed. It takes me only on the failed. I hope this is also clickable. And if I click data 1mg, it shows the data 1mg alone, the failed one alone.
Click the clear filters.
So it clears, it goes back to the one. You see this here. Whenever I filter, the URL changes, right? So what if I, say, let's say one, what will happen? It still goes back to the other one, but it still gives you a wrong URL. So on an ideal scenario, Sanjay, if our system has to have done better, I should have actually told them specifically that I don't want a get parameters on the filter. It had it to be a post, and it was not captured by AI on its own. Now that I've captured, I can tell back to AI, see, all the filters to the future should have been done on post, and then it records and moves forward.
Got it.
I hope that's one of the catch. There might be multiple catches, but that's definitely one I believe is a good one to mark.
That's good. Right, we are almost the end.
Just on the last point, so we do at the end, you can see that there is a doc writer. It kind of registers what we have done in such a way that this information is available for the future. So whatever, I think that's nicely takes to the next session. Hopefully on the org memory stage, I'll prepare my best, and then we can hopefully have all the audience that we have today and more in the subsequent ones to come.
Sure. Once again, thank you for joining us for an hour, and I hope to see all of you again. Thanks once again. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Have a good day. Bye.
Have a good day. Bye.